This Titanic exhibition is asking you to immerse yourself in an emotional experience with life-size detailed recreations of the ship's interior and personal stories about the fates and heroic deeds on board. The story of the Titanic began in 1907. Lord Pirrie, chairman of shipbuilders Harland and Wolff, and J. Bruce Ismay, director of shipping company White Star Line, planned the construction of three of the largest and widely regarded most magnificent ships in the world: the Olympic, the Titanic, and the gigantic, later to become the Britannic. The implementation of a state-of-the-art watertight door system meant that they were considered practically unsinkable. The Titanic set sail from Southampton on the 10th of April 1912, with esteemed Captain Edward J. Smith in command and over 2,200 people aboard. It was around midnight on the 14th that the tragedy began to unfold. Claes Wetterholm, the curator and historian for this exhibition, has dedicated more than 40 years of his life to investigating and studying the history of the Titanic. He has taken part in 4 expeditions to the wreckage. He reflects on the very first of these.
We knew that we were approaching the spot, the Titanic spot, and I was going to do a program for the Swedish radio. But I realized that suddenly no one wanted to speak. They all silenced. And I could feel it myself. Although I tried to treat this scientifically, I felt that I'm here now. And this is a place where you just sort of silence. No one wanted to speak.
Wetterholm tells us the story behind a necklace on display, a story that inspired another in the James Cameron film of the ill-fated cruise liner.
Kate Phillips was 19 years old, and she met this man, Henry Morley, who owned a shop where she worked. He was 47, and they fell in love and decided to escape to the United States for a new life. So he left his family and his shops that he had and everything and escaped with her under a false name. On the Titanic, he gave her this necklace here. And this is the keys to her trunk and her purse that she had on the Titanic. He died, she survived and returned to Britain. And 9 months later she gave birth to a child.
This pair of children's shoes belonged to Titanic passenger Louise King, who was 4 at the time of the tragedy. Seen here in this photo with her mother, taken outside a hospital in New York after they were rescued. Wetterholm relates the events of their rescue via lifeboat number 2.
But the sailors prevented her father from getting into the boat. Now they spoke German, these people from Zurich, and the sailors spoke English. So they didn't understand what Louise's mother was screaming when the boat was lowered.
The mother screamed at her husband, telling him to try to get into their boat.
And he dug under the arms of the sailors and threw himself into the lifeboat and survived. One of the few families in 3rd class to survive, but he lost his brother and his sister. His daughter kept these shoes throughout her life. She never spoke of them, and I've met her a couple of times actually. Wonderfully old lady, we had a lot of fun, but she never spoke of the items, and they were discovered in a box when she had passed away.
There are many stories displayed at the exhibition that enrich one's understanding of the Titanic's one and only journey, including that of First Mate William Murdoch, who was in charge when the ship hit the iceberg. More than 80% of the men rescued owe their lives to him. An audio guide fills in the details as you walk around the many exhibits. The exhibition has been put together with heart, and I'm walking away touched by the Titanic story. Neil Woodrow, NTD News, London.